Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to this Town Council Work Session, June 27, 2024. Let's have roll call. Sandy Sturgill.
Here.
Bill Goldsmith is here. Larry Tuning.
Here.
Beth Justice.
Here.
Marjorie Austin.
Here.
Having a quorum, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Do I have a second?
Asa.
Okay, go, but it's okay, Beth, go ahead.
Ms. Sturgill.
I want to amend the agenda to include old business, please.
All right. So we have,
It's either discussion or action item.
Discussion,
You can add old business. Can you give us specifically the item?
the kayak trail.
Thank you.
so that's old business, isn't it?
Yes.
So we have a motion on the floor to amend the agenda to include discussion of the kayak trail.
I'll second.
I have a second on that. Did I have to rescind the original?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So let's, any discussion on the amendment? All right. Vote on the amendment. Sandy Sturgill.
Yes.
I say yes. Larry?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Marjorie?
Yes.
All right. Now, with the amended agenda, do I have any discussion on that?
No.
All right. Marjorie? We'll take a vote.
Yes,
Well, don't we have to vote on the amended agenda?
we did.
You did,
It-
I thought you vote, I'm sorry.
I
As
thought-
I tracked it, you were voting on the amendment to the motion.
Right.
Now
Oh.
you got to vote on the motion.
Oh, I'm
On the
sorry.
motion, which is the amended agenda. Right.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
I say yes. Alana? I'm Alana.
Yes.
Sandy? All right.
Mr. Mayor, we would add, where on the agenda should we put it? It's under old business, but
We should put it under, after the action items.
okay.
So that becomes 9.
9 and 9 becomes 10.
And 9 becomes 10. And adjourn becomes
Adjourn.
11. All right. Public comment. Anybody sign up for public comment?
No.
Moving right along. Council comment. Discussion items. Mr. Costin, do you have anything for discussion items?
Yes, I think Ms. Sturgill has an item that we made copies of in front
Yes.
of you.
Just about forgot that, Ted. All right, this is not going to cost the town any money because it's going to be paid for out of another fund from the Urbanna Business Beautification. And we want to complete the sidewalk from where it stops at the pool and goes around to the other entrance and build a pad and plant some flowers.
Is this the Herbert Lockley?
What'd you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Herbert Lockley.
Yes. The price
And-
is $6,500, but it's not a town expense.
And so really, you want our permission to
Proceed with it.
provide you with the land and go ahead with it? Is that right?
That's- Yeah, I think that's all we need.
Okay. Do we need a motion on that or just acquiescence?
If you want to go ahead and do a motion that you're recognizing the project being done, that would kind of close the loop.
All right. Do I have a motion to recognize that Ms. Sturgill and the UBI are going to complete the sidewalk from the park entrance to the sidewalk on the side?
It's UBA, not UBI.
UBI.
Oh, it's UBI?
No, Urbana Beautification Incorporated.
Yes, which is UBI.
UBI.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I
all right.
apologize.
All right.
And plant, and do landscaping as well.
So Mr. Chuny made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right. Ms. Sturgill?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Marjorie?
Yes.
All right. Next, action items. Over to you, Mr. Austin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The first item is your consideration of the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget adoption. Virginia law requires localities to adopt a balanced budget by July 1 of each year for the next fiscal year, July 1 through June 30. The proposed budget was subject to public hearing on June 13, and the required 7-day wait period has been met. A longer statement was made which provided detail on the following. The proposed budget balances totaling $1.6 million with general fund balances at $772,532, as does all the other funds balance to include water at $725,000, the Tabor Fund at $30,000, the Marina at $71,600, the self-funding community activities at $12,000, and the $12,000, and the DMV Select at $0. You have a sample motion. It's 4 pages, and I'd be happy to take any questions you have at this time.
I would like to ask if the motion it's made, if it can be with the, can I add into it with the possible amendment to follow? Am I asking that correctly? You know what I'm asking. but
Yes,
can I-
ma'am. I'd put a little bit more flexibility there. With amendment to follow means that their amendment will follow. How about with consideration of amendments to follow?
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to
No.
clarify that a little bit?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to
Well,
say, do the, so,
I'll defer to the council.
I guess the question is, would the passage of the budget be dependent on the addition of amendments?
No,
That's why I'm saying with the consideration of amendments.
consideration.
Consideration. Okay.
Consideration,
So,
yeah.
so we could pass the budget, we don't have to worry about that, and that's behind us.
Right,
So
exactly.
Larry, what to answer to your question is, I have reached out to the county and Board of Supervisors to help with the DMV.
I'm aware of it, but
And
I
it-
wanted the public to know.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'll speak to the public. I've reached out to the county, did a little bit of legwork with a county administrator, and not Matt, but Anne Marie, and a couple of the Board of Supervisors to see if they're willing to help us out to keep the DMV here. So if that is the case, once we've had our meeting and talked to everyone there, the same would happen with them, as they'd have to, reopen their budget, the same as we would have to do. So that's the point of me asking for consideration to have the possible amendment happen after tonight. So,
Okay, so I have no problem with that. How do we state the motion then?
I
It's
think
right
you
here.
could, as it's written, just add the words "with consideration of amendments to follow."
okay.
Okay.
But if I may, just so everybody's aware, budgets can be very flexible. So let's just say, for example, I'll give you a completely different example. If we apply for a grant and got a grant during the course of the year, you'd have to perhaps come back in and do a budget adjustment to
Right, which-
accept the grant. So it's it can, amendments to the budgets happen all the time. I think this is just recognizing that there's a plan in place to try to keep
And
moving
each
forward
of
with the
those
DMV.
Budget amendments would have to be discussed and announced.
Right.
And
In a
then
public hearing.
the
Yes.
waiting period, like buying a gun, and then signing off on it.
Yep, yep.
It's fair to say that DMV is not lost, but it's hanging on a cliff.
Yes.
And if we don't get some help,
I can, just to be clarified though, as of July 1, that office is closed.
okay.
They can't do any
They've
more
told you
business
can't
over
do
there.
anything about that.
But,
Okay.
what we're talking about doing is seeing if we can get some help to reopen it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, Ted, I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
closed, yeah.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to approve Resolution 2024, RES-002 to adopt a budget as prepared for the 2023-2024 fiscal year with the,
I'm sorry, that should be 24, 25.
I'm sorry, 24-25. I'm sorry, I was just reading it.
I
as
missed it
written.
too.
No, you read it right. It was typed wrong.
With consideration of amendments to follow.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion on that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Beth, you seconded?
Yes.
Where are we on the Tabor Fund? Are we at $1 million yet?
No,
Close?
we keep tickling it and the market keeps pulling back. I think as of yesterday, we were at 982.
Okay. So the 30,000 is in there.
Yeah, oh, yeah. But, you know, obviously, the things we use it for, we don't have to come up with for a while, so. So,
So maybe by that time, we'll,
that was the
Right.
consideration,
okay,
you know.
right.
Past performance is no guarantee of future returns, but,
Well, I just wanted to make the public aware that
yes.
that's still
we-
there, but we're trying.
And we were closer, but the market pulled back, and so, you know, one step forward, two steps forward, one step back, but it's moving in the right direction.
Yes, it's
And
a lot.
we're tickling, $1 million.
That's better than one step forward, two steps back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so, no further discussion. Ms. Sturgill?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry Kuning?
Yes.
Beth Justice?
Yes.
Marjorie Austin?
Yes.
All right. Next item for consideration.
Thank you all. Next item is the consideration of special use permit 24 SUP2. This is Carts Inc. You had your public hearing on this matter, and decision was deferred to get some information concerning recreational vehicles, camper trailers, whatever you want to call them. Basically, what you have in your packet for the first page and next full paragraph is an analysis of what the zoning ordinance says regarding recreational vehicles, travel trailer, campers, however you wish to consider them. And you have the sections laid out there, the definitions, and then the analysis, which basically hinges on this. The travel trailer is designed, and you can't get past original design. It's designed for travel, recreation, and vacation, no other uses. So use as an office, use as housing, use as storage, anything like that would not be permitted. That's what your zoning ordinance says. Now, as to Carts Inc., if you apply that analysis, the applicant is correct. The condition suggested by the Planning Commission is redundant to the requirements of the ordinance. However, it does no harm to impose the condition as it's not in conflict with the ordinance. As to the allowance for the Oyster Festival, I've read a prior year's draft of the event's master plan, and that allowance can be written into the document this year as well as future years, and that would cover the entire town, not just one specific site. Festival leadership and I have communicated on this matter, and it appears that the change is supported by them. My recommendations to Planning Commission's added condition not be imposed, that the applicant, like all others, would then be allowed to, would not be allowed on-site occupancy of the travel trailer based on the above analysis. But again, that would be townwide, and also the allowance for the Oyster Festival, it looks like that's going to be townwide as well. Happy to take any questions you have at this time.
So your suggestion is that we strike 9, modify the master plan for the Oyster Festival, and then allow the special use permit to go through with the first 8 provisions?
Yes.
And that
You have
makes
the-
it clean with the rest of the...
Yeah, you have the ordinance there that's drafted without the, it's actually 9 conditions, Mr. Mayor. But you've got the ordinance following my memo. And so it would be the 9 conditions, but eliminating the the condition about the travel trailers.
Pardon me, can somebody, whose cell phone is going off, can you please turn it off?
Monitor in the office.
Where is it?
It's not
Okay,
me.
thank
I don't
you.
know who it was, but
So, what does it mean? What does this mean? The young man is asking if he can stay in the trailer 2 nights, right?
Well,
Couple of nights.
he was proposing a number of 2 nights a week, so many nights a month, so many nights a year. And your ordinance does not allow that. Now, if you want to make the exception with this, staff does not support the exception because it is going to open up a Pandora's box,
The other people.
and you've already got issues in the
yeah, we already
town
have a couple
with the same
Pandora's boxes
situation.
open.
Right.
So,
Well, are we,
So if we strike 9,
no, as it's proposed, you would keep 9.
we would keep 9.
Yes. What the staff's proposal is in front of you with the ordinance.
Okay.
Okay.
If you wanted to go back to the planning commission recommendation, that was to allow temporary occupancy of the travel trailer, for some occasion. The applicant came back and wanted to broaden that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so 9 is not even in here, is it?
No, sir, it is.
It is.
The old 9 is, the old 9 is not in there.
Okay,
The old 9 is not in there.
That's
All
what
right.
was confusing.
that's
me.
what was
Okay,
confusing.
I'm sorry. The old 9 is not in there.
All right. And so that has gone away now, and it reverts back to just the town code with respect to travel trailers?
Yes, that's the way that staff's proposing it.
Okay. All right. That makes sense to me.
well, when zoning was passed, I think, I went through the process from 78 to 81. Zoning, I think, came in 82, 83. Somebody out there might know. But it was just a boilerplate type of thing that they said, please pass this. And then over the years, you can tweak it to make it work for your community. I guess we've done a lot of quick tweaking
Yes.
over the years, but I just don't see why, in this case, we can't make an exception. I mean, I don't think he's asking for too much, but anyway, that's my opinion.
I think if we make the exception, the problem becomes we can't enforce.
I don't see
The
that.
other
I say
issue
if
that
it's
we
a special
have.
exception for just him, then I don't see how you can, then they can request a special exception. Yeah.
No, that's
And then we
true.
go through the whole process again.
Yeah, I thought that's exactly what a special exception was.
If you could clarify that for us, it'd be,
Your ordinance does not allow for special exceptions for occupancy of travel trailers. Okay? It does not allow for occupancy of travel
so
trailers.
it would require changing the ordinance.
You would have to change the ordinance. You just can't come in and get a special exception because somebody wants to use a travel trailer as a storage shed or as an office, or because, somebody comes and visits every weekend. It would require a complete change of, an allowance, for that use, okay?
I think I
You're
understand.
dealing with a special exception here where the travel trailer came up as an issue during the planning commission meeting by one of the neighbors. And so to try to address it, the planning commission did what they did. The applicant asked for it to be even broader, okay? So my opinion as a zoning administrator, based on the ordinance, is you shouldn't do this. No, but because it is a special use permit, you can make the exception. But then we have to be able to justify to somebody when we're asking them to shut down and move a travel trailer, why does this person have a travel trailer over here? Because they got a special exception. Well, I want a special exception. Well, the ordinance does. So you see the rat's nest that this creates.
Just so you have to change the ordinance.
Right.
Doesn't sound like council wants to do that. Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I think it creates more problems than it solves, and and I'm sorry about that, but I defer to Mr. Costin's experience in zoning over the last 30 years.
Well, he certainly got more experience than I have in it.
So we're good with having the business there.
Yes.
I looked at the lighting that the lady brought about last meeting. There's no lighting that would go into any of her windows. I just wanted to put that out there. I was out at 2
Good.
o'clock in the morning
Okay, perfect.
to look, and there's no lighting issue. If there is, it's towards the back, and it's coming from that warehouse-type building where Rescue Squad is. It's not coming from
Right.
the go-kart place.
And to the applicant's credit, he has been
Right.
more than willing to
Yes,
work with his neighbors.
yes. And there's no lighting issue there that I could find.
All right, so do I have a motion to pass this special use permit as presented?
It would be to approve ordinance number 2024-05,
There you go.
which grants a special
Use
use
permit.
permit, which grants special use permit 2024 SUP 02.
Okay. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Oh, do I have a second?
A second.
Any further discussion? No further discussion? Ms. Sturgill?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Marjorie?
Yes.
All right. Now, easements.
The next item are utility easement resolutions for Thurston Properties. You have the agenda item summary. This is to accept 2 utility easements. The town has previously installed utilities on the 2 parcels owned by Thurston Properties. So these are basically your water lines. The town needs to record these easements. State law requires that in order to accept the easements, the town council needs to adopt resolutions accepting the easements. The resolutions will then be recorded with the deeds. Staff recommendation obviously is to approve, and council action requested is yes to approve. You have a sample motion that to just approve the attached resolutions as presented. These resolutions incorporate surveys that will show you kind of what areas you're talking about. And essentially, it's behind you all, along the driveway entrance, and then there's some pieces going out across. Now, they are on Thurston's property, some of which we're hoping to soon acquire, in the remaining Thurston property, but these are easements to access the water utilities.
water
Okay,
utilities,
so
yes.
it's not ownership, it's just a right of access. And these were AccuMarked. So the engineering firm actually had, the misutility process go through, so they know exactly where the water lines are, and they did the survey around those water markings. So it's very accurate, and recommend that you all accept the 2
And to
the
be
2
clear,
resolutions.
Most of these things already exist. We're just codifying their existence to have a right to be there in the future.
The utilities are in the ground.
Yeah.
It's just the easements, so that if any repair work or anything like that, or connections, anything like that had to be done,
Right.
we.
It gives
we can go
access to
in. Yeah.
repair.
I'll make the motion to approve the attached resolution as presented.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Go ahead.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to ask, didn't we already have this kind of, already as part of the sale? Didn't we, because we've discussed this in the past, correct?
Well, and what happened was the contract for the sale didn't include any of this.
Oh,
Okay, the contract that was, all of the 2 years ago, didn't include any of this, and then when it came to settlement, all of a sudden, these easements were thrown in as part of the package, even though none of that was presented for public.
because
Scrutiny.
I thought we've talked about this.
It was mentioned, but none of it was in
Before,
the
but-
contract.
but none
and
of it
that's
was in the
where-
contract.
That's where
Okay.
there was some heartburn amongst attorneys, was because
Oh, yeah, we
now the
definitely need it in
contract
there,
was being
so-
modified to be
Right.
something different from what was put in the paper, approved and agreed
Right.
upon. And so that put us back into this motion where now we're getting the easements in place as a separate document so that now everything's cleaned up and we can
Okay.
move forward with the rest of the stuff.
Okay, yeah, that
So we
makes
can
sense. And I mean,
close
it's
on the
a-
property fairly quickly? Because
I-
as of now, we're still renting this building.
Correct.
Correct.
and when is the closing happening?
I don't have a date.
We don't have a date yet. They're
But
trying to.
but it was decided that we should get all this stuff cleaned up so that we know what our rights, responsibilities, and easements are before, and then it can be,
And I think that's why the reference where it says the resolutions will then be recorded with the deeds.
Right.
So that they're recorded
Right.
and then everything gets bundled and
Okay.
handed back over to us on the piece
Yeah.
that we're getting.
okay? I mean, that's where we were. There were some things that cropped up that made it not clean, and that's what we're trying to resolve.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Motion is made and seconded. Ms. Austin?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
I say yes. Sandy?
I say yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Now,
It was two easements rolled together.
going to the Phase 3,
Okay.
or Phase 2 of actually, it should be Well 6, isn't it? Yeah, Urbana Well 6, Phase 2.
From Kimley Horn, Urbana Well Number 3 replacement, Phase 2.
No.
This is to connect your existing well installed and constructed by Toano Well and Pump Service to the existing water system up at the water tank.
Oh, and
Okay.
I guess it is
Yes.
Well
3.
3 replacement because it is Well 6.
Okay. So, Urbana Well Number 3 replacement, Phase 2. We got two bids from on this project. They were last week, and they've been reviewed by the consulting engineer. His summary is attached in the agenda packet. I've already described the project. The bid came in at $285,000. That was the most responsive and lowest of the two bids. The engineer's estimate was actually slightly higher, so we came in under estimate, which doesn't happen a whole lot in today's world. Except, staff recommendation is to accept the bid and award to Toano Well and Pump Service, and that's the requested action by council. You have a sample motion there. I'd be happy to take any questions that you have.
It was very,
This is the second well. We have to have two wells, right?
we have to have a second well in 8 years.
And, yeah,
And
This is not that second well.
no, this is
This is a new well.
the first thing that we went through was drilling the hole and making sure that it was a productive well. This is actually getting the pump in, hook it into the water tank, setting up the perimeter, the site work, the fencing, security systems, those kinds of things, so that it becomes operational.
And we're paying this with what money?
With that USDA loan of $1,074,000.
we have some USDA money still left over from the first phase,
Okay.
and we're getting an extension on that.
Okay. All
Right.
Great.
So are we ready to? I move to award the contract of Phase 2 of the Urbana Well Number 3 replacement to Toano Well and Pump Services for $285,000, and to authorize the town administrator to execute all necessary documents.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All right. Ms. Austin,
Yes.
Beth Justice.
Yes.
Larry Tuning,
Yes?
I say yes.
I
Sandy
say
Sturgill.
yes.
All right, that passes. All right, now it's on to,
The old business.
Old business
kayak trail.
who's that?
Old
Yeah,
business.
Yep, old kayak trail, exactly. Do you want to lead that?
Me?
Yeah.
I'd like to know where we are and what we need to do to go forward with it.
Well,
The kayak trail.
we got phase one together, which was from the mouth of the creek to the bridge. And we got all the information together, and then we turned it over to the Middle Peninsula Regional Planning District Commission. And Kurt Smith, what his name?
Yeah, Kurt Smith, and I can't remember the other
Can't remember her
woman
name
that,
either.
that does the stuff.
But they put it online.
Dawn.
But from what I could find, it's awkward. I
It's,
guess
it's
better.
not very user-friendly.
It's not very user-friendly. And we haven't looked into any way to make it more user-friendly, which needs to be done.
Well,
But
yeah, I have pinged them a couple times saying it does, by the time you get to the website, you get to something you can't read on a phone, and it's not very useful. And all I've heard back is they're working on it.
working on it.
Is
And
that-
they say, and I'm repeating what you told me,
Yeah.
actually. They say they're real excited about it because they want to take it and put it online where you can use your phone and you can listen to it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And where it's actually a person speaking into it, sort of like our MITS.
Yeah, music,
Yeah.
music,
Museum and Street.
museum in the streets.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been as user-friendly as the Museum and Streets has been, and that hasn't always been easy either. But, you know, we've always had the standard to go back on, and that you've got a brochure in your hand, you can walk around and you can see the things, even though you might not be able to hear it.
Right.
But that has worked much better than what's going on here. You know, I think that probably a sit-down with Kurt Smith might be in order to see if we can't figure
Yeah,
out some better way.
I'll
to do
ping
it.
them again, because I know that they've got a lot on their plate, but they're, you know, it's basically their setup, and we provided them with the information, and it's their program and their access, and you have to go through, but I've complained to them about the fact that you can't just go to Urbanna, you have to go to Middle Peninsula and then find Urbanna, and when you pull up the map, you can see the icons, but by the time you make the individual icons big enough, it gets to a spot where you're looking at grains rather than,
Can we do something with Dave Lipscomb and
Well, the
have him
reason-
put it on ours?
Well, the reason we went in that direction is first we thought it was going to work. But second,
That's A.
and B, it didn't cost us anything. And so,
I see.
you know, I did the historical research on it. That didn't cost anything. And then we got this one. I said, this is great.
Sometimes free isn't the best way to go.
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
where it is. We did the
So-
work for them, and it's their product, and they haven't moved forward with it.
Yeah, I guess that's the case.
That's the simplified version.
And it's, you know, why it's not a high priority, I don't know. That's probably what.
Who is they, the MD
It's
Middle
Kurt Smith,
Peninsula?
who's, Middle
MP
Peninsula Planning
District Commission? Yeah.
He's the Assistant Deputy Director of Middle Peninsula Regional Planning
Right.
District.
So does
and-
somebody need to go sit down and talk to him? Is that something I could do, Larry could do, you could
Well,
do?
I-
The mayor has been talking to him.
Yeah,
and-
I'll put it on my list to call him again tomorrow.
We
and-
also,
and see
we're
where that
gonna,
stands.
we're gonna need also a drop-off point, you know, because there's people, when I went to the VML conference up in Abington 2 weeks ago, there was like 8 people at my table that come here to do things, and they really don't have a comfortable drop-off in Urbana. You know, they don't like going under the pier, of course, so, and then if we could just fix that the Payne Crab Shack area down there, clean that up at the bottom, at least give them a drop-off.
Well,
And, you know,
honestly,
so that they could get in there.
Margie, where we wanted to drop them off will work, but we don't have any signage. And I don't think the marina staff has been educated as to what needs to be done.
Okay.
And part of that falls on us, but it still mostly falls on Middle Peninsula Regional Planning. Because
Yes.
when I get calls, and I have gotten some, from, she was a wall, Joyce,
Right,
I know her from high school, so excuse me, maiden names.
Choice Eanes.
Joyce Eakins, yeah. You know, I have directed her at Kurt Smith. We also, fellow that owns a Bounty Motel, what is that, his name?
Matt,
Matt. He also got involved in one time. He figured it out and got it to work. for the
And so
people.
isn't that area though, didn't it, now that we've waited so long, didn't that area grow up now with grasses and stuff that we're not gonna be able to get that launch out there at this point?
I don't think, where I was thinking was on our property at that point, and I don't think at that point we'd even surveyed it.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I don't know how much room is there, but
Yeah.
there's no signage there, and the
Right.
staff doesn't know anything about it. So that's on us.
Right,
You know, there has to be a will to take it to the next level. It's
Uh-huh.
gonna cost something for the sign, and it may cost something to educate the staff on. I mean, but first of all, we gotta learn how to do it.
right,
And,
right. Well, getting Dave to mark it out, I mean, we could at least ask what it would cost for him to do that.
Well, it's
Just get
been
a-
marked out.
I mean,
We-
to do a, not marked out, but
Who
a
did the
web
minutes?
page. Is what I'm trying to say, marked out.
Dave Lipscomb?
Yes, find out what
You
it would
mean
cost.
online?
Yeah, for the MITS program, when that got established, was that its own separate organization that set it up for us? I mean, I don't remember.
I just did it.
Well,
Calvez donated $5,000 to go towards setting up the Mitch thing, and the mayor said, Larry, you gotta do the historical aspect of it, find out where the signs goes.
so we did it all in-house with the
We
signs
did.
and everything?
No,
Yeah. No,
That's
that's,
what I was asking.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We did the historical lineup.
Y-
No,
yes.
that was all done in Maine
Okay.
by Museum in the Streets Incorporated.
That's what I thought. It was something like
And
that.
I think that's another point that needs to be brought up tonight too, is we lost a sign with
Yeah,
that
that
wreck.
wreck.
But from what I'm talking to Ted, we're on the rebound on that.
We're on the
Should have
rebound on that
back
one.
soon, yeah.
Right.
And
if
actually-
if I didn't live right next door to that Payne property, I wouldn't know what goes on there. And most of it I really like. I like seeing the people come down there.
Yeah.
And they drop off their kayaks, the people that know, and they drive
Drive
down
on.
and park.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. I like it. But the place is just, it just looks ugly.
yeah, we gotta fix it.
And I know I could get a group of volunteers at no cost to the town
Oh, yeah, I could definitely
to,
can.
to fix it. I
Yes.
think that the beautification will do it, but we just need to go ahead.
Well, I don't
and
have
do
any
it.
problem with starting there. We just have to change the numbering.
Right.
Well, I don't,
And that-
maybe
that wouldn't
start
take 5
both
minutes,
places or something, but
Yeah, that wouldn't take,
But it'd have to be coordinated with the Middle Peninsula Regional Planning District Commission and
well,
all
you probably
that.
should just leave yours like it is, and then the people that just want to come in and kayak can.
And they could.
And paddleboard.
If we could just get it so it's user-friendly, so.
right.
the people
And we
could
couldn't
utilize
get
it.
Dave to do something.
That is really a small
I'll be honest
thing
with
for
you.
us to accomplish.
Well,
And
and
it
it-
wouldn't cost anything. It would be great for the town.
Well, the other part of it is, they're talking about doing this regionally.
Right.
But Middle Peninsula Regional Planning District Commission.
Yes.
Talking about doing this regionally. So my thought was, we need to get our foot in the door on this. From that end, it would save us a lot of money, but for whatever reason, it hasn't moved
Yeah,
forward.
Well, do we need a different foot in the door?
I-
Is your foot, is your foot not big enough or something, or?
I think she's talking about your phone bill.
No, I
Yeah,
don't think that's the case.
and but
No, I wasn't
and,
trying to
You know,
be-
I had a conversation with Kurt Smith, and I can't remember the name of the woman. I know it's in this book someplace, and certainly I know him, so he would tell me. But the person that is setting this thing up, it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get drone footage and put it on our website, so because it's gonna be your creek,
it
because that's the
windy?
first one that's there, and they were all excited about it, and it just, you know, they
Well, to tell you how old
We're
Kurt
going
Smith
with-
is, and my connection to Kurt Smith, his father and I graduated in 1960.
Yeah, I know.
University of Richmond.
Well, I was
He's
on
from
the,
Nancock, and.
I was on the Middle Peninsula Planning Committee. That's what I'm saying. I can
But I don't want to do it unless I
put
get
some pressure on him, Larry.
permission to do it.
wait. Go ahead and call him.
I'll call him.
Yeah.
You know, the more people that
Yeah.
call him, probably the better it is.
But I do think it ought to come from the mayor.
And
Okay.
I will call him tomorrow.
Okay. But I'll work on it too, from behind the scenes.
Okay,
I'll
thank
work
you.
it
Yeah,
there.
call his father.
Yeah, I'll call.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
I just want to say one thing, that we are a waterfront community, and that is the only spot where people can go to have the Payne's property. It needs to be fixed up.
Yes, it does.
How can we get signs
It's
done?
embarrassing, really.
Well, I think we asked Ted a couple meetings ago, right, Ted, for signage at the, about, at least I know we got no parking down there, but, to put down there, but,
Right. The signage issue, I have to be honest with you, there's only so many hours in a day. And July 4, July 6 have taken up a
okay.
pretty good amount of my time.
So what we've asked, though, was no
For some-
parking, but we need to put something that says
For some
like,
directionals over to the marina for
Right.
where you can park. Yeah.
but we can we add to this, guys, to, to say like Payne's Landing? Can we name that area and so that it can be easily distinguished? If you tell someone, go down to Payne's Landing, you can put your kayak or your paddleboard in there.
Yeah, kayaks, of the Payne's kayak.
I just think
And you can
Payne's Landing would be
Yeah.
really a cool name. So can we do that? Can we?
Certainly we can.
Yeah, I don't know.
All
why
right,
we couldn't.
I'll alter up what little bit of drafting I've done on the sign, because I think you all had said you wanted color, so I was trying to include the
Right.
color version of the town seal, and then the messaging, but not too much messaging, so
Right.
I'll come back with something as soon as I can.
Yeah,
and
don't,
get
I mean,
y'all-
you
get y'all
already got a
something.
lot going on right now. We understand that, so it's
But-
not like a push.
Since I'm up here, we're talking about signs, to follow up on Councilmember Chuning's comments, I have reached out to the sign company, and they've already given me an invoice. I've already approved the repair. Now, this is the sign, if anybody wants to see it, it's sitting out here in the
Yeah, in the
lobby.
car, right.
This is the one that got hit by the vehicle near the church. And we've also heard from the Commonwealth's attorney about the process for, they're building up a restitution
Yeah.
case. So
Nice.
we're
Good.
working on it.
I have permission to go to the DMV, maybe, is who I need to go to, and see if they will put up their little public signs that say Marina and an arrow or something like that.
That's
Well, now You
VDOT.
see them all up and down the highway. Why couldn't we get one that just points to
VDOT.
the marina?
That's VDOT, huh, not DMV.
VDOT, yeah.
Yeah, VDOT.
Down, yeah.
Some,
It looks like they
some,
put one of those up.
some directionals. They're generally fairly accepting of like local government directional signs, but you have to pay for them.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're kind of expensive. I think they cost more than
Yeah.
when we got the Urbanna signs.
Another comment, Mr. Mayor, is I know about committees, but I'm not so sure the Urbana Creek Committee doesn't need to be reestablished.
Yes.
And part of it is that this kayak trail is going to extend up to Boney Finco, which is the headwaters of Urbana Creek, and over into Robson's Creek. All that's got to be done. But the kayak thing is more complicated than you think. If you go over to West Point and right by the McDonald's, they've got a kayak launch place right there.
Right.
Do we need something like that? I don't know, but it might be, if you recreate that committee,
The one
they
that
worked
Mike-
on this-
Mike Jolly and.
Yes.
and that
They
bunch.
did a great job. I don't know what
They
happened
did.
to all that, because
Right.
it was,
Well,
It-
it sort of finished what we were doing, and the rest of it was left in my lap, and I'm still sitting on it, but I'm gonna get it done. And they established where the starting point was, but you can change that. It's no problem. But if you
Right.
wanna put a kayak launch thing down there, that's gonna open it up to the public. you
well,
know.
yeah, I just don't think there's enough room for all of that.
Well, they can't park down there.
No,
you know.
and I think it's better at the marina, but if people want to come down and put paddle boards or something in, I don't see anything wrong with it. But we should encourage them with the trail, I think, to go the other direction.
Yeah, and getting back to your question, Marjorie, no, there wasn't enough room to put one of those large type things in like they have at West Point.
Right.
In that corner. So I think committee, and I was thinking too, well, they could just drag it, they can drive up almost to it and just drag it, put it on in the water and start from there, number one. And then go to number two.
Right, and that's where number one was.
That's right.
And you're talking about to the left
is.
of, towards Mayor,
Up against
not
the
Mayor,
fence. Up against
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fence.
yeah, yeah, Rich Wine.
Rich Wines.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
that area right there is not clear anymore. There's like river grass or seagrass or whatever, and that might be a problem getting that out now with
On our side
EPA.
of the
that-
fence? Is it? On our side of the fence?
That's the kind of thing that VMRC has been pretty amenable, especially because we want to do something at Payne's Landing, if we did, we might be able to work out something where we remove that vegetation and put twice as much in at Payne's Landing, and they'd be happy with that because we're recreating a living shoreline, and
Right.
and we would solve the problem.
Well, the Middle Peninsula Planning District also does living shoreline work, so
Correct.
that would be a plus as well.
And the only reason I say the committee thing is because if it's not a committee, it's staff. And the staff is overworked now.
And it could
this is
be-
a
it could be
long-term thing
us.
That, you know, I would consider bringing that committee back.
I'd like
I
to
think
be,
we
I'm not, that's just my opinion.
I'd like to be on that committee.
I think some of us as council could go out there and give a little bit of a helping hand with stuff.
Well, you can't have so many of them from council on a committee.
And actually, Mr.
No, I'm
Costin,
just saying
if I
in
get asked
general.
a question, when we go to do something at the end of Payne's Landing, are we obligated to check in with VMRC on that?
Yep.
I would think we probably would be.
Yes,
I would
Yes.
just to be safe.
Yeah.
yeah. If you put a kayak launch down there, you're gonna have VMRC approve it, I'm sure.
When we went down there just to
Probably
do
will.
landscape and stuff, we were gonna clean that up, put a picnic table down there and paint that fence, and clear some of the stuff at the bottom. VMRC had a fella come down there with us. He was very nice. Garth had him come in and talk to the volunteers and all that, because I had a whole group of volunteers to help down there.
The Montagues at this point have put a pretty nice
But
fence.
there's a great fence there now. Montague's really have done it. Oyster shells and everything. It looks great.
Yeah,
Right, but they haven't removed their poles from the road either.
All of that. That electric box that was there.
Yeah.
That's all gone.
Yeah, I'm just talking about his poles. He hasn't moved those poles out of the road yet that need to be moved. But that's
Yeah.
great he did a fence.
Right.
And also, the ladies of the garden club said they would volunteer their time and expertise in landscaping it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing I've learned, Mr. Mayor, if you want something done, and ladies volunteer, it gets done.
So I have one quick announcement. I went to the VML conference yesterday in Richmond and did my FOIA COIA 2-year training. And Andrea, our attorney, was there talking about land use, which was really, really good. You guys need to hear her talk about land use. She gets very excited. But other than that, that's all that happened there. And really good breakfast.
All right.
Adjourn.
Do I have a
Motion to adjourn.
Oh. Oh,
I got it.
yeah. At the flag dedication, the banner dedication, Sandy's husband George was honored but not presented with his certificate. But he's the third oldest. We had two 98-year-olds
Wow.
that were there, and George just turned 96.
Nice.
And so,
World War II.
Yep.
Yep.
Greatest
yeah,
generation.
I wasn't forgetting. I gave it, Sandy said, no, you don't need
Yeah.
to do that.
Please,
So-
please say thank you from us at the council as well
Thank you.
for our service.
Michelle, I sent y'all an email, Mayor, and
Yeah.
Michelle and Ted, but
It-
publicly, I want you to know, that is a great program. And,
It is a great program.
and I appreciate the hard work that goes
Absolutely.
into that. I really do.
Yeah, good job.
And as I pointed out in what I said, there are fewer and fewer veterans because there's fewer and fewer people in the military. And one of the things I think is really important is the fact that those flags remind us that there's a lot of good people that are dedicating their lives to keeping us free and safe, and they need to be recognized in any way. And individuals that aren't in contact with military need to be reminded that they're out there. So, anyhow, all right. Do I have
And
a
we had
motion
a
to
really
adjourn?
good,
Make a
we had a
motion to
really good
adjourn.
parade too. It was short, but it was good, led by Ted and Bill, and they had the spat and the oyster festival.
They were with Steve, so they could.
Steve had
support.
them, that's right. And, so anyway,
Can I make, can you ask, can I make a comment at this time?
Yeah,
You're getting ready to adjourn?
Yep.
Just wanted to tell you, if we do the Payne's Landing, Dale has a huge sailboat mast,
Yes.
stainless steel or something. He wants it down there, this is what you're gonna do, so we'll have a flag down there.
yes,
Yeah, it would be so pretty.
it'd be beautiful what he has. He's offered it to put in my yard until we can figure it out, but I didn't accept it in my yard.
why not, Billy? Go ahead.
Yes,
And then we'll
I've
get
had
out of
3 or
here.
4 people come by the house, and they go on a computer, and they want to see the old tobacco warehouse, and there's no schedule when it's open. And they are some kind of upset, they come from Richmond down here, so we took a day off. So why can't we go, like you talking about, go on a computer, hit Urbanna, and it tell you what restaurants are open and closed, when people can go see that and the activities that's going on in Urbanna, instead of going to half a dozen different places and
The museum hours aren't on the website?
What they're referring to is we have one for the towns that I maintain, and we also have one for the DMV, and it's your Google search engines. So you would, create it, claim the business, and then you would update it with hours open and all. Not tomorrow, but I would be willing to create one for the town, museum.
Please.
Yes.
Because they came down Monday, no restaurants, they didn't know the restaurants were open.
No,
Yeah.
they'll come to Urbana on Monday.
Yeah, or Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, I mean, if it's on a computer.
Just Thursday,
there's no-
Friday, and Saturday, Sunday.
And it could bring people in.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna go, Billy, because I made a motion to adjourn, and
ma'am.
Michelle cut
All
me
right,
off.
do we have a second?
A second.
All right. Sandy?
Yes.
I say yes. Larry?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Marjorie?
Yes.